giveaway night. So, and it was you didn't know which player you were going to get. There was like 4 or 5 players you could get. And we walked in, and all of a sudden they have these boxes of the rings that they're giving out. And after I went through the detector like 4 times, they gave me a box and it was a ring. I was like, it was a nice surprise. Got it right here. It's a Vince Coleman 85. Am I frozen on screen? Vince Coleman 85 championship Cardinals ring.
Nice.
Which is just cool. I mean, you know what? I mean, it's a replica, right, obviously, but it was a nice surprise. I had no idea it was a giveaway. I wasn't paying attention to it because we weren't playing on going to the game. And damn, got a nice little ring. Thank you, stranger, for the free tickets. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, what a good guy. What a good guy. Great guy.
Yeah. Glad to hear he's a good
guy. Uh-huh. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Good guy.
We are going to move on to our official beers of episode 3, number 316, not 3, number 16. That would make no sense. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Kurt's at CPrice12. I am at JPonder94, and Bill is at TikTok Master. I'm kidding. He's at Billy Blue Note 33. Kurt,
Lord of the TikTok.
Yes.
Oh, we're doing beers. I got my Bud Light Orange that I did not drink last week. It's the one that I have left. Am I choppy? I look choppy on my end. Am I choppy?
You're a little choppy, but that's okay. You still look great.
I don't know what's going on. But I got the Bud Light Orange, so I'm having that tonight, and I don't know if I'll have anything else. Maybe I will. We'll see. And Goldberg did enjoy it quite a bit.
Good.
Well, which I probably.
I was going to say, he's not supposed to be drinking.
He's a recovering addict, right? And I had him drinking a beer. That was pretty wrong.
You're a terrible person.
So, I am. That was not. Didn't even think about that. I apologize.
All right.
I guess Funko Pop Goldberg can drink, but the one in the real life one cannot.
You are officially moved to TikTok duty. Bill is going to come on. Bill, come on the show. So my beer, which I am drinking out of my awesome Jameson St. Louis Blues cup, while
is that the Jenna Jameson?
The Jenna Jameson, while wearing my Old Arena Lager shirt from our beautiful sponsors over at Center Ice Brewery. I am not drinking that, by the way. I am drinking from Four Hands Brewery, one of my favorite sipping beers, Single Speed. It's just a very, very yummy, very good. Does it have a description on it? It says it's ale brewed with jasmine. That's all it says. Is
it the rice or the spice? I would assume it's the spice. I wouldn't be brewed with jasmine rice. But speaking of forehands,
jasmine from Aladdin.
Right. I wouldn't think it'd be brewed with her either. But if it was, then you know it's good. But we went to parked at Four Hands and walked to Busch Stadium, which we do often. You can park at Four Hands for $5, and if you can find a spot on the street out front of Four Hands, it's free. And then you park there, go inside, have a beer or two, and then walk over to the game. It's not a close walk, but it's not a far walk either. It's I don't know. It's not bad at all. But you park for free and patronize Four Hands.
Yeah, no, I love me some Four Hands. I went in there a couple weeks ago and got some of the, drawing a blank on it, Sparkler, the seltzer.
Was
just gonna grab.
Pop?
Yeah, the Bomb Pop stuff. I think they had a limit on you can only buy 4. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy 4 packs, and I ended up spending like $140 because I got a bunch of other stuff too.
I thought you meant 4 cans.
No, 4 full pack, 4 packs. Yeah.
Have you had the push pop? Have you had the push pop?
No, I have not. No.
They have a push pop seltzer, and I don't do seltzers, but I do like their Bomb Pop seltzer. And I was going to get a push pop seltzer before I left, and I didn't do it. But next time I go, I have to get one. I assume it's orange, orangey.
Orangey.
Because push pops are push. I thought it was rosy.
Rosie Red Palm.
Rosy Red Palm.
Oh, that's a dad joke right there, right?
I am a dad, so
That's true.
I'm
So
allowed.
you're allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today in Blues history, courtesy of the @STL Blues history account, today is August 25th, 2021. A couple recent ones here. August 25th, 2014, the St. Louis Blues held an icebreaker event. Jimmy Roberts, the original Blue, was in attendance with Bobby Plager. They unveiled the new jersey, which we know is the standard jersey now, after they got rid of that terrible piping. The yellow pipes down the sides. I hated those. That was such an ugly hockey look.
I
And
didn't
they also
hate it as much as
introduced.
others. I thought it was. I mean, I'd rather it not be there, but I didn't hate it. I was like on the fence with it.
Yeah, so I will say I look back and I see like the big Tarasenko goal against the Blackhawks, one of his greatest moments, and he's wearing that jersey, and I'm like, not a fan. At the time, it didn't bother me too bad, but now getting used to the really at this point a classic look for the Blues, I just think you can't ever go back to that. And I'll add to playing with it in EA, it actually looks really cool. And I say the same thing about the retro jerseys, the blue with the yellow stripes, not the red jersey. But I actually play with that in the EA games a lot because it looks cool. You know why? Because it's cartoony, and that's what you want in some of your video games is cartoony. So it looks cool on the games, just not a fan of it in real life.
The yellow piping jerseys always reminded me of roller hockey jerseys with the tails, with the bottoms of the, how there were no horizontal stripes there. It was almost like a untucked t-shirt kind of look, it was odd. I was never, I mean, it was, I don't know, it was okay for a little bit, but I'm like, oh, come on. Hockey jerseys have the horizontal stripes at the bottom. It just looks better. I mean, people, you see teams try and screw around with that look, and most of the time it's like, you divert from what works, and you run the risk of it not working, and oftentimes it doesn't. And that, I don't think it worked. I mean, when you got better options. If you're gonna have your team wear a jersey, have them wear the ones that like the best looking jersey you can have them wear, and that just wasn't it at the time.
Speaking of roller hockey, one of the I play on a Sunday league over at Queenie Park, and there's a gentleman that plays in that league, a goalie, who wears the Blues blue clown jersey. He wears that but he's got a different logo on it. It's one of his other teams, I guess.
Oh,
but honestly, I see it and I'm like, yeah, that belongs on a roller rink. That is a roller hockey jersey. I'm okay with it on the roller rink.
It's closer to a roller hockey jersey than an ice hockey jersey.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep. Some of those roller hockey jerseys, man, they are so crazy busy. Splatters, and like the stripes are just like paint that's like just thrown on there. It's all splattery, and it's like, and you can't even hardly read the numbers sometimes. It's just like, what is going on?
Yep.
It's just nuts.
Yep.
Colors all over the place. It's nuts. It's like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun watching that. I know you watched it too, that the roller hockey documentary.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great. What was that one called? I feel like we should promote it because it was really fun to watch. It was a B.
It was old though.
It was a B type documentary. It wasn't like a Michael Moore documentary, but it was fun to watch.
No. Was it Rock and Rollers?
Rock and Rollers,
yeah. The wild sport of professional roller hockey. Yeah, it was.
Seeing the jerseys in that was just hilarious.
It was. I mean, I loved professional roller hockey back in the day.
Me too.
I went to a lot of games. I went to the All-Star game when it was here in St. Louis. Yeah. It was neat. I mean, new guys that would that tried out and made the team because it was just cool. I mean, it was neat. I liked it.
I thought it was funny. I started working, and if anybody follows my friends over at the Game Plan Sports, TGP Sports, over in St. Peter's at one of the Rickplex rinks. They're one of their guys that helps with jerseys and stuff. I actually worked with them back when I worked at Total Hockey. And it was funny. I heard his name. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, this is Greg Royer," like on my first day. And I shook his hand. I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And I'm like, "Your name sounds so familiar." And I started asking him, like, have you ever played here? Yeah, I've played there. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's it. And like, come to find out, he's a former Viper. And I went home like 3 weeks after I found that out, and I found a bunch of my old Vipers cards, and sure enough, there's a Greg Royer card. So I brought it into him. I'm like, you got to sign this for me, man. And he started cracking up. He's like, I haven't seen one of those in 15 years.
There's a Facebook video. It says Greg Royer, St. Louis Vipers legend.
Yeah, he was a legend. And I've played hockey with that legend.
Great. That's great. That's funny.
Also in that in the icebreaker event, which was I didn't go to that, but I remember hearing from a lot of people that it was a lot of fun. It was packed, but it was a lot of fun. They also introduced Paul Stastny as a member of the St. Louis Blues that day, which was exciting at the time.
You know, it's funny when you say the event was packed, and knowing Ballpark Village, that it's it's inside. When you pack that area, and it's funny how times have changed and how we're thinking about things right now because of how things are. And you say, and my first instinct when you said the place was packed, I'm like,
yeah,
it's like, oh my gosh, well, that wouldn't happen. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in there now if it was a packed house, like shoulder to shoulder. Because when the very first Stanley Cup final game that the Blues lost, when they were up 2-0, I believe, in that game, right? Against Boston, or 1-0, whatever it was.
They were up 2-0 at the start of the second. They scored.
Yes, and I was at Ballpark Village for the watch party, and I have never seen that place so packed. And I look back on that thinking, man, I mean, just how that wouldn't be cool today, especially in Missouri, with all the stuff going on. It's not something you want to probably do right now.
Well, and the night the Blues won the Cup, think about that.
Yeah. I was in Enterprise.
We literally had what's his name, Tom Thompson, or Tom the Tom guy, or the guy who does the Cardinal stuff.
Tom the Thompson guy,
whatever his name is.
Oh,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but anyway, he was going around with Chardonnay and was just pouring it in people's mouths. And like, I clearly saw a guy in front of me put his lips around the top, and I was like, I don't care, whatever, who cares? The Blues just won the Cup. And now I'm like,
why would you do that?
Imagine if that would have been 2 years later, because that would not have happened.
Who does that anyway? Like in a non-pandemic situation, who puts their mouth on a community champagne bottle?
I think he was just wasted, and he wanted to make sure he hit his lips.
Does that? Oh God!
It was
what
crappy.
A dumbass.
I'm just kidding. It was not Crappy Gully. He knows better.
What a? That's gross. I don't care. I don't care when you are, who you are. That's gross.
Yep, I hear you. So August 25th, 2016, the St. Louis Blues officially named Alex Pietrangelo as captain. So kind of a big day there, as the only captain to win a Stanley Cup so far in St. Louis.
So far, yes.
Yep.
It's like is that the Simpsons meme? The only captain won a Stanley Cup, and then there's the only captain won a Stanley Cup so far.
So far, yeah. What? Oh God, I'm
Homer.
gonna look that quote.
It's Homer, right? It's Homer.
It sounds like it. Yeah, that sounds like a Homer quote. I'm going to look that up at break, because that's one of my favorites.
We should make that meme. Like, I'll do it during the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's what I mean.
Real quick, let's go ahead and get some comments here in the Facebook chat. We got Adam Gold saying, "Hi, Kurt and Jeff." Hello, Adam Gold. Good to hear from you, my friend. He says,
Hi,
Urban Chestnut Fantasyland. I guess that's what he's drinking, and that's a great choice. I haven't had that in a while. And for the longest... It's an IPA. Yeah. But it's a good IPA. It's the beauty from Center Ice Brewery, but it's a good IPA.
I mean, okay.
Very, very light hops on that one. But yeah, it's that was one for a while. That was about a 6-month period where that's pretty much all I drank. So that's a good choice. My
palate's too refined for IPAs. It's too good to
listen to this guy.
So my palate is too refined to put up with an IPA.
Says the guy wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt.
Yeah, and drinking a Bud Light Orange.
Mary Woodruff Ponder says, "Hi, Jeff." Well, Mary, what about Kurt? Say hi.
What about
Kurt.
Yeah? I'm like literally half the show right here. I'm just like, I'm nothing to you. It's just like
nothing.
Whatever.
I guess she just doesn't give a shit about you, Kurt.
Hi, Adam, and that's all I'll say hi to.
In the YouTube chat. We have Slapshot Matt saying, let's go. I think that was because we got a little bit of a late start there. And then Matt Harris, don't think it's the same guy, says, Jasmine is one of the strangest things I can imagine a beer being made with that is still with a beer being made with that still sounds really good. He also says, the bad piping jersey just gets more offensive the more I look at it, but I feel like it looks like a jersey from that period. It does.
Yeah.
That was like
the
same period where some teams had the numbers on the chest, which I hated that too.
Islanders did that, I believe. And Dallas didn't they do that?
Yeah, the Stars did it. Buffalo did it.
Yeah. Buffalo did it. Big Boy did it.
Simpsons did it.
Big Boy did it.
That's a South Park.
That's from Dick Tracy. Big Boy did it.
Woo! Man, look at you pulling out a Dick Tracy reference.
Dick Tracy with
What was the reference you made? It's a terrible like sitcom you brought up from like 30 years ago. Silk
Johnny
Stockings.
Bagel? Silk Stockings, right? Terrible as in awesome if you're a teenage kid.
Of course.
A young boy coming into his manhood. Yeah. It was a good show.
Well, on that note, we are going to take our break, folks, and let's hear from our friends over at rockinthatidlife.com. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Put that energy drink down. Don't you know that common energy drinks contain high levels of caffeine and other harmful ingredients that can lead to increased blood pressure and heart rhythm disturbances? Finding that energy you need for everyday activities doesn't need to put your health at risk. ID Life's energy formula doesn't use artificial ingredients or a massive dose of caffeine. Energy's caffeine levels are released slowly over time, allowing for longer periods of energy without crash, not to mention keeping your heart safe. Energy also includes neurotransmitters for mood, focus, memory, and cognitive function. ID Life also added antioxidants associated with brain health for no reason besides perfection. With rockinthatidlife.com, you can get an energy boost and leave the heart risk behind. Text Dustin at 636-393-8745 or visit rockinthatidlife.com and throw those gas station energy drinks in the garbage. That's 636-393-8745 and rockinthatidlife.com and tell Dustin that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. Oh, this is the worst day of my life. The worst day of your life so far. That's what it was.
Yes. And it was Homer Simpson, right? Yes.
Yes, it was Homer saying it to Bart.
So yeah, sporting my 2 replica championship rings.
Nice.
To the camera there for the folks on YouTube and Facebook. I feel rich and talented right now. Rich and connected. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you should feel talented too. I mean, look at you and listen to you and look at you.
And yeah, if I were in the mood to pull up my radio DJ voice, I'd be even more impressive.
I prefer your stripper announcer voice. It's pretty much the same voice.
Yeah, it's kind of it's more of a sleazy DJ voice. Yeah,
hey,
and
guys.
Yeah, on stage, center stage. Jasmine.
I was going to say that, Jasmine, yeah. You've
Give
had
it up
her
for
in
Jasmine.
Beer. You've had her in beer, now you can gawk at her. Sorry, I've never been to a strip club. I don't know what it's like. So I want to add real quick, having Dustin on last week was a lot of fun. From rockinthatidlife.com. And I hope some of you took advantage of his 30% off. I know Bill recently made a purchase. I'm planning on making one probably Friday when I get paid. But
I meant to, and I forgot. Actually,
that's okay.
That's honestly the truth. I forgot.
It happens. Yeah, it happens.
To me a lot.
But hey, you know what? Again, if you text that number 636-393-8745 and tell them Let's Go Blues Radio sent you, you'll get 10% off. So still a good deal off your entire order, by the way. So big news for fans as single game tickets have been announced as going on sale on Friday, August 27th at 10 a.m. So if you're hearing this on Thursday on the podcasted version, that is tomorrow. It's going to be on Ticketmaster.com as well as stlouisblues.com. And I didn't put in the notes here, Kurt, but we are expecting full capacity. No talk of a vaccine needed.
Right.
Other teams have come out and said that. Blues have not, at least yet. So we'll see if that changes. Probably not.
Our inquiry to the Blues, and the response was they're monitoring the situation, and they will make that determination at a later date. So they have not said yes or no yet, but that
you got to think at this point they're not going to. If tickets have been put on, if they're being put on sale and they haven't announced it, I don't think we see a change.
Yeah, I don't think. I think if they're going to announce it, they're going to do it before they put tickets on sale, because that'd be a mess if they sell a bunch of tickets and then announce they're going to do the proof of vaccination to get in. Now they can always wear a mask. They can always do that. That's, whatever. But I think the proof of vaccination thing is a much bigger deal to get in. So you would think that's not going to happen unless there's a huge, uptick in cases and whatnot around in St. Louis, which I hear today, I think it was, that it's kind of plateaued for the time being, the number of new cases or the hospitalizations or both or whatever. So that's kind of encouraging. Hopefully that holds and continues to get better. So continue to be smart, people.
I've got good news, Kurt. Mary Woodruff Ponder says, hi, Kurt.
She does. Hey, hi, Mary Woodruff Ponder.
Don't sound so enthused.
Well, it seems forced now. It's not genuine.
Yeah, it does.
It's better than nothing. I'll take it, I guess.
Yeah, at least she didn't say hi to Bill.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that'd have been funny.
That would have been good. Come on, Mom. I thought I got my sense of humor from you. Where was that joke at? Come on.
I learned it from watching you. Okay.
So also with that, the giveaway schedule was also announced. Couple ones that I wanted to call attention to, but Kurt, if you have any other ones, please go ahead and mention. December 7th is Ryan O'Reilly Winter Classic Bobblehead Night. So that'll be pretty cool. I might have to see if I can pick myself up one of those. That's a cool idea. I imagine he'll be wearing whatever the Winter Classic jersey will be coming up, and because he didn't even play on the team the last time they're in the Winter Classic. So
right. So
it'll be the new jersey. It has to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll announce the jerseys. It's just January 1st, 2nd, whatever day it falls on. And so December 7th, that's pretty close, less than a month away. So I'm sure the jerseys will have been announced. And
yeah, they usually announce it right at the beginning of the season for the Winter Classic jerseys, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But and then also, which I find this kind of funny, but and I appreciate it as a Blues fan, April 19th versus Boston, replica championship ring giveaway night. I think that is awesome. Good on the Blues. Kurt, maybe you'll go pick up another ring for your hand.
Yeah. You know what? I'll be curious to see if, and not to show this off too much, not that it's like anything special or anything, but just to show people who are watching.
It is to Sabres fans.
Oh, I wonder. I would love to have one just to compare it to this one to see how replica-y it is. There you go. So yeah, we each have one. Yours is. Yep. I hope you didn't pay too much for yours because yours is blurry.
Mine was free. Okay. Let's just say I have a very, very, very good friend who picked up a couple of them and decided to pick up an extra one and just give it to me, which was awesome. Actually, let's just say I do work with him in a way. He's a you know what I was gonna say? He's my financial advisor. He got one for him and his dad. I think I told you this story. And then he picked up one more because he was like, you know what? I'm going to get one for a friend of mine. I don't know who, but I'll figure it out. And then he realized, which thank God, I had an appointment coming up with him, my yearly checkup with him. And the minute he saw that, he goes, oh, I got to give it to Ponder. And I was like, if I wouldn't have had that appointment scheduled, I wonder if I would have gotten this. So good man, that guy.
I got a couple. I got one for each of my kids too for Christmas that year. So that was and that was pretty neat to see. I mean, they're replicas. They're not. I'm not spending $5,000 on the fan version of the ring, whatever it cost. But yeah, it was. They liked it. It was cool. Just a fun little thing to put on a shelf.
Yep. Brian Luck, a friend of mine, asks, when is Cam Jansen bobblehead night?
That's every night.
Yeah, it's every night. They just give them away.
If you watch
buy
him,
a ticket, you get a free Cam Jansen bobblehead.
If you watch Cam Jansen, he just can't sit still. He's just constantly moving his
Yeah.
head. So that's all. Just look at him as bobblehead. He could be on Night at the Roxbury.
Manny Legacy. Do you remember what he used to do after he would make a save and like stand up? He would always do this. He would go.
Oh, a lot of
he'd bob his head.
goalies do
a
that.
lot.
Patrick Waugh did that.
And
Patrick Waugh did the whole
crappy goalie does that now. Like we used to like tell him like do the Manny Legacy after he'd make a save, and he would start doing it. And now it's just like
goalies.
He'll do it without even thinking about it. Be like, dude, you're doing the Legacy, and he's like, really?
Yeah, goalies are an odd bunch. They've got all kinds of weird little rituals they do or ticks they do that they become habit. So and Waugh was always adjust the head forward like a chicken, right? Just gonna, I don't know if it's adjusting the helmet or what, but yeah, everybody's got something, and all the goalies like tap the posts,
Oh yeah,
crossbar, post crossbar.
The few times that I've had to fill in goal, I do that. I like
the
first thing I do is I skate out and then I tap the goal post with my stick. And I've even every time I've done it, I even said, why did I do that? And I think it's just because I see other goalies do it all the time.
See, being a center, take a lot of faceoffs in my day, and I'll line for faceoff, and every time I'll just kind of slide my stick across the faceoff dot and just kind of do a little X on the faceoff dot before I take it. I don't know
I see that.
why I do that. I just do, and it's I just started to do it, and now I can't stop doing it. It's just weird. If I don't do it, I feel like I'm not ready.
It's funny because I don't think I've ever actually said this out loud, so I wonder if any of my goalie friends that I play with that might be listening, if they've ever noticed I do this. My first shift, I have to go up and tap the goalie on the leg pads. I have to. I remember there was one time where we had one defenseman too short. We had 4 guys on the rink, and we were short one guy, and it was a defenseman. It's like, Potter, get out there. It was like right as the puck was dropping. And I literally had to make this crazy curved way to get into the play because I had to skate down and tap the goalie on the leg pads, and the play's going the other way, and my team's like, Ponder, what are you doing? Go down with the play. And I'm like, I gotta tap the goalie.
I would do that before, if I was starting a game, before the opening face-off, I would skate down and tap the goalie on the pads, and then go right to the face-off dot and take the face-off. That was and then do the X on the face-off dot. I've got problems.
Yeah, we all do. We're hockey players.
One of the other theme nights, we're still talking about those, is the which I found interesting, was the medical appreciation night. Purchase a theme ticket for medical appreciation night and receive a scrub cap and retractable badge reel. Which is, it's just kind of to bring let's bring all the medical professionals into the building, and I would hope that I guess most of them would be vaccinated, but it's just kind of funny to bring them into an environment where they're not requiring vaccinations, and the frontline workers, it's like, yeah, let's put them all in the same building at one time.
Yeah, a couple days later, it's like, we need people to volunteer. Right, We've lost all of our medical personnel.
Because they didn't require a mask or proof of vaccination.
They all went to the super spreader event.
Yeah, well, I mean, they work in a hospital, so they could bring it home, right? And they could just bring it to the stadium, and there's no mask policy, no vaccination policy, which hopefully all of them are anyway. But and then they're all in one building. It's just kind of comical to me.
Yep.
That one.
Matt Harris says, "Hi Jeff, hi not Jeff." Says, "Kidding, hi Kurt."
Yeah. Well, I'm not Jeff. That is a true statement.
That's true. That is true. So along with the the single game tickets, as well as the giveaway schedule, theme nights were also announced. Again, you can go over to stlouisblues.com and check that out. By the way, we're not affiliated with the Blues, but we sure give them a lot of press. There's 2 nights that I wanted to mention.
They should pay us.
They should. Free. We'll take free tickets. Just give us some free tickets. Hell,
once a month.
I will gladly take a voucher for a free hot dog. Give me that. I'd be happy. But then I got to buy tickets to the game, so I guess that is. But I'll still do it. I'll do it. December 12th versus Anaheim. They're bringing back Star Wars Night, which is awesome. But the big one for me, April 6th versus Seattle. They have claimed it will be Pride Night. So Pride Night returns.
Take a screenshot
socks.
of this screen.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Proof that it existed at one time, because they have pulled the rug out from under people with this trick before.
Well, and you didn't even have to screenshot it before. He says to go to the Blues site, and they still had it up that was Pride Night after they changed it. But
God, that was such a bad look.
Full credit to the Blues for bringing it back. Because it should be here. I don't care if you agree or disagree. To me, and we've said this on the show a million times, I know Kurt and Bill agree, that it's not just like we are just showing that we care about, people who are proud to be gay and, part of the LGBTQ community. It's just about inclusion. It's just about giving them one night. And they had it stripped away from them a couple years ago. It's been dwindled down over the years, and I love to see it back. If you buy the theme tickets, you get a pair of Pride socks given away with the purchase of the ticket. So I think that would be pretty cool to own. But yeah, love it. Great job, St. Louis Blues. Pride Night is back.
Agreed. And it would be, it is advertised as Pride Night, a theme night. It's not just a giveaway night. It's so there should be imagery around the rink. There should be stuff on the boards. There's not boards, the screens. They should have events and things in between periods and stuff too that are themed, stuff on the Jumbotron, stuff like that. So and that's the whole point behind a theme night, to theme the entire evening. So that'll be cool to see.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, too, I know that the argument against this has been, well, I don't want to subject my kids to this. You have the choice to just not go. And if you're a season ticket holder, give your ticket to somebody else who would want to go. And I'll say I took my son at the time, I think he was 5. I took him to the Pride Parade out here. And he had the time of his life. He danced around to the music. Everyone was getting along with him. Now, I will say there were people who were dressed a little provocative that I didn't appreciate, but I knew what I was getting myself into going down there. But I'll say, like, the stuff mandated by the people who set up the Pride Parade was very tasteful. It was fun imagery. And again, my son had a great time. So if you're worried about your kids, as far as what the Blues are putting on, it'll be tasteful. You don't need to worry about something crazy being put on the screen. It's not like that. So if you've never experienced a Pride night, a Pride event, it's nothing to be concerned about.
You go into the naked bike ride on Saturday.
Jeff. I did not know that existed until about 8 years ago. I was at a bachelor party, and
you saw him right down the street.
Yeah, and we were in the party bus in Soulard. I don't remember where we're going. We're going somewhere, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's the naked bikers!" And they all started biking by the bus and waving, and I'm like, "What? That's a thing?" And I was like blown away. I had no idea that was a real thing. It still kind of blows my mind.
I've been a few times. I'm not naked on a bike.
I was going to say, did you participate?
No, I participated, but I didn't. I rode the bike. I didn't. Most people aren't naked. I'd say, I don't know, maybe 10%, 20% are naked, maybe, which is a substantial number. I mean, because there are thousands of people down there.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of body paint. There's a lot of costumes. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people just dressing up, having fun. And there's beer taps out on the street from the bars that are there in the Grove. There's a stage. There's a costume contest. There's a ton of people down there, which was great before COVID. Now that there's, it's on Saturday, and I enjoy going down there. It's just fun, but I'm like really leery going this year just because of how things are. I'm like, you know what? That the people that are down there are probably some of the people that are most inclined to be vaccinated anyway. I'm just the types of people, generally speaking. So that shouldn't be a big issue with a ton of, like, the vaccination rate of the people there should be pretty high. And most of it's outdoors. You know, you're riding bikes on the street. That's fine. You know, I'm not. And it's basically like they close off the street in the Grove. You're hanging out in the street. So, and you can go in the bars too. But you know, so you can hang out on the street. So I'm kind of on the fence. If I go, I'd be in the street the whole time, just hanging out. So, I imagine there probably won't be as many people this year as in compared to years past. So maybe that's another plus. But I don't know.
But there's a positive. There will still be naked people.
Well, you know what? Probably 90% of the naked people you see aren't people that you're going to say, "Hey."
I don't know, Kurt. I just find the human body to be very attractive. I don't care what they look like.
Then good for you.
That's not true.
I'm just saying.
I see myself in the mirror. That's not the case.
You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of head turning going on.
Right. Well, and not for positive reasons.
I mean, you know, it's just not. I didn't think I knew what elephantitis of the balls was.
Whoa. Whoa.
Before last time I was there was 2 years ago because I canceled it last year. There was a guy walking down the street, and it was, I kid you not, the size of a large grapefruit, man. It was
wow,
very large.
Was it like Randy
wow,
Marsh on
what
South
the
Park?
fuck?
Have you seen that one?
I'm not
bouncing around on his balls like it's like a beanbag.
Probably. I haven't seen that one, but it's probably not too far off. It was and just it's not that that's the norm, but it was just kind of that it just burned into my brain, unfortunately. So, no, but it's a fun event. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Go out there, you have fun, have some beers, ride your bike around. It's a good time. Yeah, and naked. If you want to be naked, you can be. It's actually a protest. They're allowed to do that because it's a protest. It's a protest against oil consumption and whatnot, that kind of thing. So if they label it as a protest, they can do that, and the city lets them, and they get a permit and everything for it. So,
well, good news is, folks, the rest of this show is going to be naked. Let's Go Blues Radio. Here we go.
Yeah, show number 50 of season 9. This is show 50.
Yes, it is. It is show 50. So another big moment that came out recently with the ticket sales being announced. Chris Pronger's number 44, which was supposed to be retired last season. Last season? 2 seasons ago. Last season. On Monday, January 19th versus Nashville is the new date for that. The first 12,000 fans in attendance for the game will receive a replica number 44 banner, courtesy of Bally Sports Midwest. Pronger will become the 8th player. What?
Bally's. You said Bally's. I was just being you in the intro.
Oh,
Bally's.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoy that. I did that. I was wondering how it would go over, but from what I've heard, people think it's funny.
I the first time I heard it, I was like, "What the hell was that for? Why'd you do that?" And it didn't click in my head that she had said Fox Sport. Erica Weston said Fox Sports, and it was they changed to Bally. It was not processing in my brain why you did that until after the fact.
For those on the podcast, you probably don't realize that on the YouTube video intro, it's a little different than the podcast. I dub over Erica Weston saying, "This is Erica Weston from Fox Sports Midwest." I dub over the Fox Sports part. Well, actually, the Fox part, and just say Belly really quick. So you just hear her go, "Hi, this is Erica Weston from Belly Sports Midwest."
Yeah. Darren Grice in the YouTube chat says, "Doesn't surprise me that the guy drinking Bud Light Orange was meat gazing and was very impressed with what he saw." I would not use the word impressed. You know what? Maybe I will use the word impressed. That was impressively large. It was impressively
large. There's your comment
large.
of the show. Congratulations.
I wouldn't say it was gazing. It was just something that it was hard to not see.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, Darren Grice. Yeah, you get comment of the show.
Yeah, Matt Harris says naked. First he says, "I'm so glad Pride Night is back. with the Blues. They're making people like myself feel more included does nothing but grow the sport, especially in non-traditional markets. Well said. Very nice.
Yeah.
And he also said that naked bike riding sounds horrible. The chafing. Yeah, I can't imagine riding a bike naked.
That was my first thought when I saw him the first time. I'm like, that guy is literally naked on a bike. That sounds awful. Like I've gone to the gym and worn and rode the bike and worn the wrong underwear. And I'm like, I'm gonna hate myself later. This is gonna be terrible. I can only imagine doing it naked. That sounds terrible.
And especially if you get sweaty. And if the seat's one of those narrow seats, you're gonna be. You're not gonna be able to see the seat.
You got to have the banana boy seats, right? Come on.
It's got to be one of those big wide seats, right? Just so you can actually, almost like a chair, just sitting on it.
Yeah.
And definitely. It's fun. It's interesting because like in years past, afterwards you go into a bar or something, and the people that were naked on the bike ride are still naked in the bars and stuff afterwards. So it's really weird to be in a bar and then see someone naked at the bar standing. It's odd to be, but because of whatever. But and then you see people sitting down that might happen to be naked in the bar, like at a bench. I'm like, I'm not sitting on these benches ever. So I don't touch a lot of things when I go to the tables, and I touch as little as possible.
Really? Because I just walk around my eyes closed and I just go like this.
Yeah, you probably get into trouble if you did that. About chest high, to walk around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hoping to find an attractive dude. So Pronger will become the 8th player in franchise history to have his number retired by the Blues. I was gonna quiz you, Kurt, on the other retired numbers, but 1, I know you know it, and 2, I know that you can see on our notes what it is, but I know you know it. It's Al McInnes, number 2, Bob Gassoff, number 3, Bob Plager, number 5, Barclay Plager, number 8, Brian Sutter, number 11.
Yep.
Brett Hall, number 24.
22 with Dallas.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
And Bernie Federico, number 99.
Right. Probably I'd like to see 38 up there sometime soon, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Kevin Dahlman, Devil Dimitra, 38. You can make an argument for Wickenheiser, but not as much, I guess. Really, but I love the Wickenheiser thing's a different story completely, because the Wick banner is disappeared. It's gone, and it's never to return. I guess they say it will, but it has not. It's been a long time. And because that was their way of honoring him with the 14 fund and the banner up there. That was like also honoring Wickenheiser, and they just took it down. You can't just honor someone with a banner and then just have it there for years and just take it down.
Well, my point is, if you take it, I'm actually fine with them taking it down, to be quite honest, but you got to make a public display about it. You have to, hey, everybody, we're going to take this banner down, but we're going to hang it at Centene. Like, we're going to hang it at the Blues practice facility. Or, like, we're going to hang it.
Why?
So it's the first thing you see when you walk into Enterprise or whatever. Like, them taking it away from the Ring of Honor, I'm okay with it. It's just you have to do something with it. You just can't take it down and then never acknowledge that it's gone.
Take it down, put it in a glass case somewhere in the concourse, and have a plaque next to it explaining what it is and some memorabilia from the game.
They've got like a St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame section right there. I think it's right outside like section 104. Just put it right next to there, or like right next to it, above it, whatever. Like there's plenty of things you could do with that.
Or what has been brought up a number of times, and it should be done. I'd imagine it will be at some point. A Blues Hall of Fame. To just have and just have that somewhere in the building or next door or something.
I think,
and then have that there.
Once like the Blues Stanley Cup team, like all those guys are retired, I think you're going to see that. I think that'll happen.
You have to. I mean, even before they won the cup, you can make a good argument for it because of all the great players that have come through here and all the history this team has had. My God, there have been books written about the team and just crazy ass stories from back in the day. I mean, the whole move to Saskatoon is a whole wing of a museum. I mean, they could have. So,
well, I will go ahead and say now for Chris Pronger's retirement night on Monday, January 19th, I will be, and if my job's listening, I will be taking that day off. I do plan to get up to center ice pretty early that day. I imagine they'll be, they'll be open. It's a game day. So anybody interested, if you're maybe planning on going to that game, I will be up there early. I will be celebrating early, and I'm going to have a great night that night. So
it's a Monday,
yeah,
huh?
it's a Monday, unfortunately, but like I said, I'll take the day off. Probably even take Tuesday off. Have a good
I know
day.
it's a Monday because Monday tickets probably don't sell very well, and with the game being a jersey retirement day,
it is against
they'll
a
sell
division
out.
rival.
Are they? I mean, they are, but I mean, they're not very good right now. So
I mean,
but still,
I don't know.
It's always fun to be.
Oh,
it's always fun.
Oh,
it's always fun to beat up on Nashville.
They got Magnus Arvidsson.
I didn't look at the schedule as far as Blues games in Nashville. Is there a weekend game where the Blues are in Nashville? Because there has not been in a while. There has not been a Saturday night game in Nashville in a number of years. It's always been like Sunday afternoon or something stupid.
Yeah,
like, I want to go to Nashville. I want to go to Nashville on a Saturday night or on a Friday night. Hang out Friday night. Go to the game on Saturday night. After the game, spill out into the strip there and hang out, and then come home Sunday evening or whatever. That would be a great trip.
Some of the best nights of my life has been going to a Blues game in Nashville, spending the night in Nashville until all the bars close, and the next day is usually one of the worst days of my life. But it's worth it. There's a Waffle House right as you cross away from Nashville that I frequent whenever I go there. And, it's the best Waffle House there is in all the country.
In all the land.
In all the land. But no,
okay, so there's I'm looking for Nashville games right now. No, go ahead.
You know what would be awesome?
I'm looking.
And I'm just throwing this out there because we're a live show, and I like to say thoughts out loud on a live show because they won't be ever edited. A Let's Go Blues radio night in Nashville.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be a lot of fun.
The Blues don't play in Nashville until March. Okay. This works. This is kind of nice.
Oh boy.
The Blues play in Nashville March 12th, 11:30 a.m. It's a noon game.
Ooh.
So the game's over at like 2:30, right? And so then you can that's a day.
You do a post-game show. We could do a post-game show from Nashville and then go out to the bars that night. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah.
That'd be cool. And I'll say, is there any other days? Probably not. March 12th is the first one, I believe. And then they have another one on April 17th, but that's a Sunday at 5:00. It's an awful time for Blues fans to travel.
That sucks. If that was like a 1:00 game, I can make that work.
Yeah, there's the one time, the March 12th. That's it.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about that because that could be a lot of fun, and I think Bill would be down too.
I think I would have preferred like a 1:30 start, but 11:30 would be all right.
Would have been nice. Anyway, so one more bit of news we're going to get to before we talk about the subject of today's show. Zach Bulduk, the Blues first-round pick, and this kind of bleeds into our next segment. He signed a 3-year entry-level deal with the Blues. He was the Blues first-round pick this past draft, number 17 overall. Spent the last 2 seasons with Rimouski Oceanic of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, posting 40 goals and 41 assists in 82 games. In 2019-20, he was named the QMJHL Rookie of the Year after leading all rookies in goals, 30, and finishing second among first-year players in points with 52. So Zach Bolduc has been locked up. Really no surprise. That's kind of standard after you make your first-round selection.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going – I mean, why draft the guy if you're not going to sign him? So
yeah. And they can't, and it's not the NFL. He can't come in and say, all right, I want 15 million. I want this. I want that. No, That's one thing I've always said that I love about the NHL with their contract structure. Rookies literally cannot make crazy demands like that. They come in and say, hey, you got to work for your first big league contract. And I love that.
Yeah, 18 years old. Who knows how he's going to pan out. Still very young, a lot of growth. But the write-up on him from Elite Prospects is Bolduk's tools give him the upper hand in downhill battles. When defenders stand flat-footed or rush him, he dangles through them with rapid stick handling motions. And when given an open shooting lane, he can take a couple steps, kick a leg back, and sling pucks past the goalie. It sounds like, by this write-up, he knows how to play hockey.
Oh, good. That's better than me.
There's not anything that really, I mean, he can dangle through defenders when they're flat-footed. Well, who can't? and when given an open shooting lane, he can take a couple steps, like anybody should be able to, in an open shooting lane, and kick a leg back and sling pucks past the goalie. So he might have a good wrist shot.
So what you're saying is he has to have a really good line mate.
This is a Vegas shit write-up that could apply to a lot of people. That just, it's not a I don't know.
From what I've heard, he's an excellent talent. We'll see.
I'm not saying he's not.
I think this draft, this is going to be one, and we're about to talk about the 2010 draft and kind of rate, because that's the only way to truly look at a draft is in hindsight. You don't know when the draft happens. I think this past draft, and maybe even probably last year's too, to a certain extent, it's going to be fun in 10 years to look back on these two drafts and say, how did these guys pan out? Because there wasn't as much scouting as we've seen in the past. A lot of it was virtual. A lot of it was like, well, we saw him play 2 years ago and he was fantastic as a 16-year-old. So it's interesting to think about where we could be, how we could be looking at these players in 5, 10, 12 years.
Well, a lot of the scouting reports will come from the scouts that go and travel and watch him play in a tournament, and they may see him play 3 games.
Yeah,
and I mean they'll get scouting reports on him from guys that might watch him more often, but the scouts that make the call on who to draft, they might not see him play in person but a couple times. So that's very interesting how that stuff plays out, and it's why, especially later on picks, I mean, complete crapshoot. I mean, anything. Second round, even late first round is a crapshoot half the time. So
yep. So let's talk about the 2010 St. Louis Blues draft, a recap. So basically, the reason I want to do this, I think I kind of stole the idea from our friends at the Puck Podcast, Eddie and Doug. I don't want to say it was last summer. They did something where they actually went back and looked at the first round of 5 years ago and which teams did great, which teams did terrible. And the way because at this point, we're all NHL fans. We all watch the game. 5 years is a pretty good indication. And so it was fun to listen to them talk about, oh, hey, this team picked this guy. They could have picked this guy, but they didn't. How did that pan out for them? Because again, going into a draft, we can say all we want. Oh yeah, well, the scouts say this and the scouts saw that. And this guy's your clear number 1, Eric Jansen. And you can see how that panned out over time. That's, to me, the only way you can truly rate a draft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that whole analyzing a draft down the road isn't really that novel of an idea. It's been done a lot.
No, it's
but
not.
I mean, it wouldn't be stealing from them. It'd be just one more podcast or a group of fans doing it. So I mean, it's
they're my friends. So I'll just say that we stole the idea from them.
It's just fun it's a fun thing to do. I mean, especially this is 2021, so this is 10, 11 years after this draft. So it's you can easily tell who panned out and who did not.
Yeah, at this point in their careers, these guys are either in their prime or just getting past their prime. So,
or never got in and
or never got. Yeah, exactly. So first we will look at the first round, which the Blues ended up having 2 picks. First pick was the Blues pick, 14th overall. And remember, this was so the 2009-2010 season. That was so they had not gotten Yaroslav Halak yet. Chris Mason was still their goalie. Right? Yeah, 2010, he would have still been their goalie. So you try to think back to the time. Eric Brewer is still the captain of the team. Eric Johnson has his golf cart injury. And so you're kind of just like, okay, what are they going to do this draft? Jarmo Kekalainen is getting ready to leave. It's been already announced that this is going to be his last draft with the St. Louis Blues. So
And
you're
this
wondering
was
how
Armstrong's first as GM, right? He
As
took
GM,
over
yeah.
yes, first as GM. So this big statement.
So that's kind of why I picked this one, because I thought Yarmo's out the door. You're already looking for a new scout advisor. And obviously then landed on Bill Armstrong, who has since also moved on to be a GM. But yeah, Doug Armstrong, first GM, our first draft as the official Blues GM. So with the 14th overall pick, the St. Louis Blues drafted some guy named Jaden Schwartz, a left wing out of the Tri-City Storm of the USHL. Obviously turned out to be a pretty damn good player for the Blues, member of the Stanley Cup team. My big note coming from this one is you look at the players who were drafted after him, a guy we'll talk about in a minute, Vladimir Tarasenko, Nick Bukestad, Bo Bennett, Kevin Hayes, Charlie Coyle, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Brock Nelson, and Justin Falk. All names that came to mind that were picked later in the first round. So interesting to think that Blues are pretty high on Schwartz at this point. We were already talking about Mandy Schwartz, who was thankfully still with us at that point. And he was kind of a story because of, what his sister had gone through, how he had been a part of her life. And then, of course, obviously, he's got his own accolades on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, and seeing how the draft panned out, and to see the order in which these guys were taken, to see Schwartz taken ahead of Tarasenko, which came a couple picks later, is, I mean, like I said, it's not really because Tarasenko is obviously has had the better career, but he was taken after Schwartz. Obviously, other things played into that too, with the next pick, with Tarasenko, as far as whether he would even come over from Russia at the time. Remember that conversation? You draft a guy, and is he going to come over? I mean, is it a wasted draft pick? I don't know.
Yeah, because this was at the height of like the Alexander Radulov, and who was the other player who jumped ship? Because Kovalchuk hadn't done it yet. There was another guy I remember who jumped ship at this point. I don't remember who it was, but it was like, I think it was a Blue Jacket.
Or even just not come over at all. I mean, and I mean, it's not just coming back. It's just not going back over. It's just like, well, we'll draft him, but then he'll never come over.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, it was kind of the more safe pick to pick a guy like Jaden Schwartz, undersized, but a guy who has a lot of speed, a lot of talent, great hands. And at this point, we all thought, okay, that's a solid pick. Well, guess what? He ends up becoming a Stanley Cup champion. So looking back at this pick, I give the Blues an A+. Solid pick. And I know that I've been the biggest naysayer of Jaden Schwartz over the years, but I'm not going to dispute that the guy had a great career with the St. Louis Blues. Big part of their Stanley Cup run in 2019. So clearly a great pick by the Blues at number 14th overall in the first round. Then 2 picks later was the Ottawa Senators pick. So they actually ended up trading that pick to the Blues in a deal that sent David Rundblad, who was the Blues' first-round pick the season before. They sent David Rundblad to Ottawa in exchange for this pick. So Blues, and I remember at this point thinking, if you're already trading your first-round pick from the season before, clearly you've lost some faith in that player. And,
or you really want
to make that pick. But I remember when that trade went down, that was my first thought was, well, the Blues clearly want somebody. And I think a lot of people knew that they were going after Tarasenko because he had said he wants to come to the NHL. He wants to prove he's the best. So he was a good pick for the Blues. But I remember thinking, okay, Rundblad has clearly fallen out of favor because they were so high on him last year, like a guy that they were never going to get rid of. And then the next draft, they move him for another first-round pick. Clearly, looking back, the Blues won that trade.
And this really should be considered one of the best trades in Blues history.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't think about it because it was made before the Tarasenko was drafted, right? They made the trade, then they drafted him. So you usually think of as player for player, but this brought Tarasenko in, and what we gave up was a guy who ended up never playing a full season in the NHL. He played for
his longest stint was with Chicago, I believe.
Right, 49 games. And before that, it was he played 30 games total with Ottawa in the 11 and Ottawa and Phoenix in the 11-12 season. Yeah, he bounced around Ottawa, Phoenix, Chicago, and never had much of a career. He played 113 games over 5 years, and that was it. And he defenseman, just not that great.
Yeah,
and we got Tarasenko for him. So a fantastic trade. So, and it's interesting to see this as Armstrong's first draft as the Blues GM to take the pick made last year, which he was involved in as well, because he was with the Blues for 2 seasons prior, I think, before he became the GM.
2 or 3.
And then
he was assistant
and then,
GM or advisor to the GM or whatever his role was.
And then he takes that pick and moves it. So, not afraid to Armstrong has not been one to be afraid to move on from his mistakes, I guess.
Yeah,
which is this is an early precedent for that.
So clearly Tarasenko, and I remember when this pick, when the trade, when Gary Bettman came up and said, we have a trade to announce, the St. Louis Blues, and I remember thinking, oh, they're taking the Russian kid. Like that's the only one that makes sense here. And all we heard about was his release, how good he was, how good his hands were in front of the net. And clearly, looking at the Tarasenko we've seen over the years as a whole, all of that was true. I mean, he stepped into his first NHL game in 2013 and scored 2 big goals against the Red Wings, had a solid season before he had the concussion. I think it was against LA. Wasn't it Kyle Clifford that gave him the concussion? Could be wrong on that. But either way, so yeah, again, A+, not only for the pick, but for the trade for the St. Louis Blues. And I would mention the players drafted after, but it's basically the same guys that were picked after Schwartz. So right. solid A+ for the Blues all around.
Yep. Agreed. And, won a cup. I mean, he was
another
key
cup
part of that. So yeah, I mean, and so Schwartz and Tarasenko, it's interesting to look back on this. And if you were to tell me in 2010, this draft will, I mean, along with a number of other moves to build that team, this is not, what won us a cup, but it's just one of a number of things. And to go back and tell myself in 2010, hey, this draft is going to play a decent part in the Blues winning a cup in 9 years.
I mean, let's face it, that's the wingers of the Blues' first line, basically, for the next, 8-9 years.
Yep.
Well, once they made the league. So, yeah, I mean, right. Both may not be on the roster this coming season, but let's not argue the fact that they are a massive part of the Blues winning the cup. And that was
I should look up what the talk was at the time. And I remember the talk being that questioning whether he would come over, Tarasenko would. I know that he said he wanted to, but would he be allowed to? Would he leave? Would he want to do that? He could say one thing and do another because you never know. I should go back and look and see exactly if there were critics of this pick. To say,
there were.
Might be a waste to pick. Yeah.
I remember going, it might have even been on the Let's Go Blues forum. I don't know, but I remember going on a forum and seeing somebody just going off about how it was terrible to trade your first round pick from the year before because this kid's never even going to come over. This is a shot. What do you call it? Like a shot in the dark or something. And I was thinking, dude, this is a shot worth taking. Same with Klim Kostin being drafted a couple of years ago. Like, the plus side of this kid making the NHL and coming over, that's worth the number 16 pick to me on what that kid could do. And clearly Tarasenko proved that he was, maybe still is, an elite NHL talent.
Yeah, and actually, looking back on it, the talent that we gave up was not a lot. And so even if Tarasenko didn't come over, Rundblad didn't really pan out as anything much in the NHL anyway. So it was no big loss. It was a low risk, high reward kind of play.
Maybe in a hit, which Hitchcock wasn't coach obviously at this time, but eventually became coach. Maybe in a Hitchcock system, maybe Rundblad works out. You don't know. But from what I could tell, he was slow. He didn't have the passing ability that you needed from your back end. Clearly, the best decision here was to get Tarasenko.
This is in a chat with Jeremy Rutherford.
Who?
And a guy said with friend of the show, Jeremy Rutherford.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't specify friend of the show, JR.
Oh, I forgot who he was.
And this is on the letsgoblues.com forum. As you mentioned, I looked it up and it came right up. This is back in 2011, I think. Says his name is Jelloflow. Hey, JR. I was reading this interview with Tarasenko. The interview doesn't come across as him being overly enthused to come and play for the St. Louis Blues next year. And there's a link to RussianProspects.com. I didn't read it yet, but it says, if passion is not here, we should trade him now that he still has big value. When you think about it, we should have kept Rundblad.
Oh, boy.
Who will become a great defenseman for the Senators.
Oh.
What do you think of this? I love reading this stuff. Going back and
hot
and
take.
I'm glad I haven't purged the old posts in a long time. I used to do that to save space, and I just stopped doing it and just I'll suck it up. Yeah, and then JR's response is, and I haven't read this yet, so I don't know if he's going to come up looking good or bad here.
Oh, boy.
And JR says, Rundblad has the desire to play in the NHL, but keep in mind that he's playing for his dad. Oh, he probably means Tarasenko, right?
Yeah.
He's playing for his dad, and he's very comfortable. Also, he wants to be a big part of the Russian national team. The Olympics are in Russia in 2014, so he can play with his KHL team next season and then try out for the national team again. Like I've said, staying in the KHL for one more year isn't the end of the world. If he decides to stay in Russia after next season, then you start to question his true desire to be in North America. Rundblad looked good last year, but I'd still rather have Tarasenko. So there you go.
There you go.
So
that guy knows what he's talking about.
Mr. Gelflow says Rundblad's going to become a great defenseman for the Senators. He played literally 24 games for them, and then they traded him. Nice. He's a minus 11. Then not a great defenseman for anybody.
Now I got to look up what that trade was when they sent him to Arizona, because I remember seeing that and being like, oh, they already moved Rundblad.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, oh, well, so once you see this kid play apparently in your system, he's not what we thought. We'll move on from him.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So he went in the Kyle Turris trade. That's right.
Oh,
the Senators got Kyle Turris, and the Coyotes got Rundblad and a 2012 second-round pick. Interesting.
Okay.
So clearly the first round was a big win for the Blues. I don't know if we're going to say the same thing going on here. The second round pick for the Blues, number 44 overall, Sebastian Wandstrom, a center out of Brynäs IF of the Junior 20 Super Elite League, which I believe was in Finland. He was a guy that, again, we heard about his hands. We heard that he was a great passer, a great setup guy. He's potentially a second line setter in the NHL. I don't know if he ever made the NHL at any point, but I remember just being unimpressed when I saw him in camp like 2 years later. I remember just being, okay, this guy's not. This isn't what I thought he was.
Yeah, well, when I watched 8 hours of tape on him, I thought the same thing. I was like, when I was done watching those 8 hours, I'm like, I'm not that impressed. And he never played the NHL. So
and then you watched another 8 hours and you said the same thing.
Just to make sure. Yeah. I'm like, that first 8 hours, I think I need more time to evaluate. Maybe just to
might have
back
been
up my
something
first.
hidden in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but no. So after 16 hours, I'm like, no.
And then you sent me a separate 8 hours, and I watched those, and I was not impressed.
It's amazing. There was 24 hours of tape on him out there.
No, on YouTube.
Right.
So after he was picked, some players that were picked shortly after him: Ryan Spooner, Tyler Toffoli, Callie Yarncroc, who, wow, that's the second reference to him in the show.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk that? And Jason Zucker. So clearly all guys, some of those guys still in the NHL. Actually, I think all of them are. And some guys with speed, some guys with hands. But again, you can't fault the Blues draft team because at the time, Wandstrom, I remember was a very highly ranked prospect.
That's
just
why
didn't
it's a
pan out.
crapshoot. That's why it's a crapshoot. And yeah, some of these guys would be nice to have, but it's, I mean, 44th overall, second round. Like I said earlier, late in the first round, it's almost a crapshoot. So you just never know. With I mean, so many guys that picked second, third, fourth, fifth round, whatever, just don't pan out ever. So
yep. So speaking of guys that don't pan out, third round pick for the St. Louis Blues, number 74, Max Gardner, a center out of Minnetonka High School of Minnesota, was the Blues pick. Want to mention players drafted after him: Brian Rust, Scott Wedgwood, Joachim Nordstrom, and Jonas Donskoy. All again, you mentioned players that you'd like to have over this player. All guys you'd like to have, but at the same time, again, they're picking the best player available, at least to them.
Yeah, and looking back on this, and it's not something where you can criticize, it's not something you can criticize them for, because like you said, they're either the best player available on their list, or they're picking them for a specific reason, and it just doesn't work out. You're throwing darts at a dartboard. So
and
he never played.
Stats.
He never played.
Yeah, so he played in Minnetonka, went to University of Minnesota. Wow, went to Penn State after that, and then hasn't played since. So he never even went to like Russia or anything to play, apparently.
Europe, no AHL, nothing.
Wow, that's crazy. So he really did not pan out.
That's the last time we draft from the high school that makes those small Tonka trucks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mini Tonka. Yeah. Mini Tonkas. Yep. I like that. Good pun. That was fun. Fourth round, the Blues picked 104th overall and took current NHL defenseman Yanni Hakanpää out of Kiko Vanta of SM Sarja. I don't know what I just said. So, but I remember this pick because he was a big man at this point already at 18. And clearly he's still, was a guy who maybe had some growing to still do. And he did. I want to say he still put on a ton of weight after this. And he was just involved in the trade that sent, I'm forgetting which Fleury that was. Was it Hayden Fleury to Anaheim? And he went to Carolina. They were pretty big fans of his in Carolina. I remember when he was when Anaheim picked him up and they started playing him, which, again, he never played for the Blues. I remember texting, again, friend of the show, Doug Stolhand of the Puck Podcast, and asking him, what do you think of Hakanpää? Because the words here were great shot, uses his body well, just way too slow for the NHL.
Well,
that was always the word on him.
It took him a long time to make it. I mean, he's only been in the NHL since 1920.
No, 2 years ago.
1920. Yeah.
And
only played 5 games that year. But I mean, he was drafted in 2010. He didn't get him for 9 years, which is a long time. You don't make it after that long. You're not going to make it. But
he was in the Blues system for a long time, and he never even got a sniff of the NHL.
Yeah,
I want to say he was called up at one point to be the 7th defenseman, but never actually took a shift with the Blues. But yeah, Doug Stolhand said, he's fine. Like, yeah, the Ducks sucked, but he was like, as a 5th, 6th defenseman, he's fine. No problems at all. So I was actually happy to hear that because, again, he was a kid that I kind of watched a lot, hoping he would eventually make it. And he played for Carolina last year, which was a playoff team after the trade. So clearly he's got some skill. But like you said, as many defensemen do, took a very long time to make it.
That's true. But that is still long. He should be, entering his prime, about when he made the NHL. I mean, age-wise. So for a defenseman.
So players that were drafted after Hakanpää before the Blues' next pick. Big middle finger to this asshole. Philip Grubauer was picked. Fuck that guy. Ty McGinn, Zach Hyman, John Klingberg, Tim Heed, and Michael Furland. So looking at that list of players, man, it would have been nice to pick up John Klingberg right there, huh?
It would have been. Grubauer too, not gonna lie.
When he was with the Capitals and it was clear he was going to get moved, I wanted him so bad. I'm like, go get Grubauer.
Yeah, they could have had him too, but they didn't. Whatever. I mean, we won a cup, so it's fine.
So let's see. Bennington 1 cup. Grubauer 0 cups.
He has 1 as a backup.
That doesn't count. I have as many cups as Grubauer.
So Jake Allen doesn't have a cup then. They're going to piss off a lot of people.
I also have as many Stanley Cup rings as Philip Grubauer does.
You're going to piss off a lot of people saying that backup goalie doesn't count for the Stanley Cup. Because Jake Allen was one of the most important members of that team.
Yeah, he was great at opening and closing the door.
Pretending to be somebody else in practice?
Better.
Yeah, that's great.
Better than anyone I've seen opening that door.
I still remember the people that were coming out of the woodwork saying that he needed to get some games started in the playoffs because they'll need him in the playoffs. They'll need him at some point. I'm like,
how it works?
No, you don't do that.
You don't just play your backup goalie to play your backup goalie.
Dumbest thing.
Yep, agree. I remember seeing the year the first year the Kings won the cup. Somebody saying that was that Bernier that was backup, that he needs to get starts when they're up 3-0 because they went up 3-0 I think twice in that cup run, and fans being like, "You got to start Bernier in Game 4, get him some playing time in case you need him." No, you let your starting goalie just keep rolling. That's how it works.
The only thing worse than Allen haters are the Allen apologists. That's insufferable. Insufferable. It's like, come on. Admit that, just whatever. I don't want to get into it. I'm tired of talking about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it plenty on the show.
Yes. Both sides are annoying, but one is certainly more annoying.
One of my favorite quotes from Bill Day was on this show, and he said, how did he word that? He's like, yeah, the Blues are going to need a backup goalie for when Jay forgets how to goalie in January. So moving on, 5th round, 134th overall, Blues select Cody Beach, a right wing out of the Calgary Hitmen of the WHL. Drafted after him, a couple goalies listed here: Louis Domingue, Peter Mrazek, Sam Carrick, Brendan Gallagher, which is still crazy to think he was a 5th round pick, and Jesper Fast of the New York Rangers.
Yeah, Gallagher been nice. He'd been a fan favorite here. He was he was a
blue
typical
collar, hard working dude.
Yeah, kind of an asshole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Blues fans would have loved him. Yeah, Cody Beach never played in the NHL either. So.
Yep. Yeah, that's a theme here, folks. In case you were wondering.
Yeah.
Great first round in this year. Nothing much after.
Nothing.
I mean, like I said, Hakanpää was great. Just couldn't crack the Blues lineup.
Or other teams lineup until he moved on from us.
He moved on and went straight to Anaheim and started playing shortly after.
Okay, and so that was they moved him to Carolina in April.
For Hayden Fleury, I believe.
Yeah, right.
Yep, which was a great deal for Anaheim, which I was shocked they let him go in the expansion draft.
Carolina got a 6th-round pick too.
Yeah. So moving on to the 6th round, 164th overall, the Blues select Stephen Mccauley of well, I actually don't have what team he was with. That's how important he was. Left wing from somewhere.
The most important part of this Stephen Mccauley pick is who was available after.
Yeah, so you look at who was still around in the 6th round. Mark Stone, Frederick Anderson, and I should have probably led with Patrick Holland, but Mark Stone and Frederick Anderson, two pretty damn good NHL players. Still left undrafted when Mccauley was picked.
Mark Stone had MVP. People were saying that he was an MVP candidate last season. So how important he was to Vegas. So, but you
think Tyler Bozak agrees?
Well, if we had Mark Stone on our team, he wouldn't have.
That's true. I would hope he wouldn't have hit Tyler Bozak.
The Mark Stone in the 6th round is kind of reminds me of Zetterberg and Datsuk, the back-to-back years for Detroit when they drafted them. They were in the 5th, 6th round area or later, and I remember at the time that they were drafted. Somebody said, Red Wings knew they had a diamond in the rough, but they knew no one else was going to draft them, so they waited. I'm like, no. If you know that you have the talent of Datsuk and Zetterberg, you know what you have, you don't wait that long to take them. There's no you go
off the board and you pick them in the 1st and 2nd round.
You pick them, maybe 2nd round. You don't. They fell into the Red Wings' lap. They got horribly lucky back-to-back years, those two players, and that was a huge reason why they won some cup. That was a big, huge reason. So
now I'm sure that they were on their draft boards. I'm sure they were like, hey, if this kid's still available, good chance this kid could turn out to be, decent. Third line center, maybe 2nd line winger. I don't doubt that. But for them to think we have 2 potential Hall of Famers, they're not taking them that late in the draft. They're saying, you know what? This guy is going to be a 90-point scorer and one of the best defensive centers of all time. And this guy is going to be an unbelievable left winger who will be our captain one day.
Yeah.
They're not.
You don't wait for somebody else
sooner.
No, that's stupid. You don't wait for somebody else to pick them by, just to happen upon them. Datsuk was taken in the 6th round, 171st overall, and Zetterberg was the 7th round, 210th overall. Zetterberg was drafted in 99 draft, and Datsuk was there before. So back-to-back years. Yeah, and totally drove that team offensively. And back-checking too. Both fantastic at it.
So talking about this draft, just Bob 3000, which that might be a new live listener. He says, I thought I read that Tarasenko might have been drafted in the top 5, if not for the concern about him coming over. Bob, I think you're right, because Tarasenko, I believe, was the number 1 European prospect, much like Klim Kostin. But teams were afraid to take him because they didn't know if he was going to come over or not.
Yeah, and Kostin had the shoulder issue too at the time.
I want to give some credit here to Divide by Zero in our YouTube chat. Talking about David Runblad to Phoenix. He says Kyle Turris was the trade, I thought. Yeah, I just read your comment. I'm sure you posted that before I said it. Round 4 was a good selection for the Blues as well, although the player wasn't given a chance here. I think that was Hakanpää. So, yeah, agree. Yeah. Great pick by the Blues, but and he was on top of the Blues defensive depth chart for a very long time. Just never got the sniff that he needed, and luckily got it in Anaheim. Now he's getting in Carolina.
You would have thought that at some point he would have gotten something here, but no.
Yeah, there was a couple of years there where they had some real bad injuries on the blue line, and it was just okay. I remember even people saying like, "Why not give Hakanpää a shot?" And it just never.
Why not Hakanpää?
Why not Hakanpää? I feel like that could be like some kind of tongue twister.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that we've said Hakanpää on this show more than any other podcast ever has said Hakanpää on their show.
More than our friends over at Red Revolution.
Yeah, I bet you so.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's just make sure and put this over the top. Hakanpää, 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 Hakanpää. There we go.
Hakanpää.
Perfect. Yeah. Hakanpää. So let's take a quick break here, folks. Hope you enjoyed the 2010 draft coverage. 11 years later, I enjoyed looking up a lot of the stats here, players that were taken after certain players, and a lot of fun. But let's hear from our friends over at Center Ice Brewery. And by the way, from what I hear, everyone over at Center Ice Brewery are big fans of Jani Hakanpää.
Center Ice Brewery is St. Louis's only hockey-themed brewhouse. Stop on in during the next game to experience the ultimate hockey fan brewery while sampling various hockey-inspired beers, such as Old Arena Lager, the Beauty IPA, the Rotating Pale Ale Series, or seasonal offerings such as their Imperial Stout, their Lime Sherbet Sour, and much more. While you're there enjoying any number of their fantastic beverages, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood and the actual penalty box door from the old barn. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game, or any game. Visit CenterIceBrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or make a reservation in the tap room. Center Ice Brewery. Let's go Blues! Please drink responsibly.
Jani Hakanpää, Jani Hakanpää, Jani Hakanpää.
Hakanpää!
Bless you, Hakanpää.
Bless you. Gesundheit.
Hakanpää, Hakanpää.
Gesundheit. No, wax on, Hakanpää off.
Let's. I know I just read some of them, but let's take a look at the YouTube Hakanpää comments here. Jeff and Kurt, is this a problem with the Blues in general not playing our kids? I know that's been an issue with Hitchcock, and I will say last year with Berube, there was some issues, I think, with getting some guys more ice time. I actually thought Berube, for the most part last year, was a little too... I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. He was a little too... No, he was a little too happy to give Kyrou minutes. Because I thought he, for stretches, did not look like an NHL player. I'm hoping he turns that around. And again, we talked about his contract a couple weeks ago that he just signed. And I think he will pan out to be fine. But he definitely had some slump periods where he was still, and granted, it's injuries. There's a lot of injuries last year. But I thought he gave him a lot of minutes. Now, having said that, on the blue line, yes, I think I think it took a long time for Jake Wallman to really become an everyday defenseman, whereas I think he could have been even the season before. From what I heard, he was ready. He's been ready to go for a while, but the Blues just haven't had room for him because they've had a good, solid defense. But two, never really just gave him a chance to come in and play a game here or there.
So a few years after Hakanpää was drafted, I'm looking at the Blues defense in the 13-14 season. So who we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we had 8 players play D for us at some point that season. Bouwmeester, Kolyakovo, Cole, Jackman, Leopold, Pietrangelo, Polak, and Shattenkirk. So, I remember Leopold getting chances here when I guess you wonder at that point if Hakanpää was ready or not. Next season, we got, let me sort by position here to make it easy. There we go. Bortuzzo, Bouwmeester, Butler, Cole, Gunnarsson, Jackman, Leopold, Lindbaum,
God,
Mccauley,
that guy. Every time I hear
Pietrangelo, Shattenkirk.
Every time I hear Lindbaum, I kept thinking that guy was going to pan out.
Yeah, I mean, and Butler got work here. He played some games, number of chances, and this was when Butler and Hakanpää were in the Blues system, and Hakanpää had been in the system for 4 or 5 years. So I mean, it's he was an option, but they went with Butler instead. Butler.
Which at that point, Butler had a pretty solid NHL career. Played for Calgary a number of years.
Right, but I mean, he wasn't anything special. I mean, I like Butler.
You knew what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah, good guy, local guy. I guess. Guy. But I mean, it just, I don't know. I mean, there's a number of times where the Blues could have said, okay, well, let's come on, Yanni, let's see what you got, and we'll give you some games. But they went in a different direction for whatever reason. Like you said, maybe just because they went with a guy who was actually, played in the NHL before, who has some experience, not necessarily any better talent wise, but he's got some experience. So,
yep. We all know how teams prefer experience. Granted, the Blues had not had a cup winner on their team, with the exception of Fraser, Colin Fraser. That's almost. I remember like the season after. Yeah, Andy Strickland said something about how there was one player on the team who had won a Stanley Cup, and I was like, who? And he was like, Colin Fraser. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot he was part of that team, but he never played a game.
Andre Benoit played 2 games for the Blues in 15-16.
Wow.
I mean, you're Bertuzzo, and this is the 15-16 team. So, yeah, Benoit, Bertuzzo, Bouwmeester, Butler. Butler got more time. Edmondson, Gunnarsson, Lindbaum again, and then Parayko, Pietrangelo, Shattenkirk. So the rival of Parayko, they're starting to get some pretty good defense as far as guys that are passing up Hakanpää in the system. Because the Parayko just blew by Hakanpää.
Oh yeah, yeah. He came out of nowhere. I remember just seeing all these stories about how this young kid Parayko was just barnstorming every league he was in. It was like, whoa. I can't wait to see him in a Blues jersey. So we're going to move on to some rapid-fire hockey tidbits. Unfortunately, a lot of really sad stuff to talk about here, Kurt. Former NHL player Jimmy Hayes passed away at 31. He won a national hockey championship at Boston College and played 7 seasons in the NHL. His younger brother, Kevin, who we mentioned earlier in the show, who'd have thought we talked about him twice. He's a center for the Philadelphia Flyers and has become a fan favorite over there for the way that he carries himself. So Jimmy Hayes, a name I think we all know fairly well because he wasn't that long ago before when he played in the NHL. Unfortunately, has passed away. I haven't seen a reason why yet. I don't know if there's been an autopsy.
I was going to ask that question, but I haven't heard. I think his cousin actually played for the Cleveland Indians back in the early 90s. Willie Mays Hayes. Wow. Heard of him?
Oh, yeah. Ricky Mays or
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, yeah.
Run
run
like Mays, hit like shit.
But you hit like shit. One of my favorite lines.
Run like Mays, hit like Hayes. You may run like Mays, but you hit like shit.
Oh, man. Yeah, we were just talking the other day about how that movie's going to have to be remade because now it's the Cleveland Guardians.
Well, yeah, but it's one of those things. I mean, it's going to be 20 years from now, kids will see that movie and be like, is that a minor league team?
Yep. Unfortunately. So, Kurt, how do you say this next guy's name? Is it Rod Gilbert? Rod Gilbert?
Are you a New York sportscaster who should know better?
We shouldn't be
Raj Gilbert? Yeah.
We shouldn't be cracking jokes, but we are.
Well, I mean, okay.
New York, for those that didn't see, okay, first of all, former Rangers right wing Raj Gilbert passed away at 80 years old. So it's a long time before he played, but he is a legend in New York sports.
18 years with the Rangers. 18 years with the Rangers. Yeah, no, just a New York television sports caster was announcing his death, and he called him Rod Gilbert
Oh,
on the air. And I'm like,
that
are you
hurts.
kidding me? First off, the guy's a legend, okay? And you're in New York. You don't mispronounce his name. That's absurd. Now I could see, somebody from the Midwest, not, maybe a younger person not knowing him that well and seeing his name and thinking it's Gilbert. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
friend of the
this guy,
show,
so
Zipper Zepra said that it would be a different story.
me
Or
Right.
Trish Brown,
or
or Julius Hunter, or Larry.
Wow, look at you,
Connors.
Larry Connors. Yeah. Larry Connors and Julius Hunter both wished me well when I got married. Do you know that? On TV.
Dude.
On TV. On the air.
They were the one the one TV broadcast that I would watch every night as a kid.
They were cool.
Thought they were hilarious.
They were great. Yeah. So yeah, and again, that's just on call. That's a running joke online that the guy, I hope the guy, I don't know, the guy's gonna be embarrassed to hell. I mean, how do you mess that up?
He better be.
How you can't even go on the air and apologize because you don't want to bring it up again.
Yeah.
You just got to move on. I don't know how you do it. Your career will be forever defined by that moment because you fucked it up.
Okay, I was trying to sit here and think of an equivalent, and I think I just came up with it as I was thinking this. That's if when Bob Plager passed, if somebody would have been like, and unfortunately in sad blues news, Bob Plager has passed away. Like St. Louis would have crucified whoever got his name wrong.
Right.
And I hope they did the same thing in New York.
Who are the sportscasters now in St. Louis? I don't even know. Oh, okay. So if Frank Cusimano said, had said Bob Plager.
First of all, he would be completely discredited with any hockey talk ever. After that,
okay. He's a basketball guy, and
he is.
He's always had a rough go trying to talk hockey in detail. But I like Frank.
No, I do too. But no, he would be crucified if he would say something like that. And that's I think the best equivalent I can come up with. Bob Plager. You can't do that. You can't do it. So Raj Gilbert.
Bob Plager
said. Plager. So anyway, a little background on Gilbert. Played in the 1972 Summit Series, and he's a Hall of Famer from Montreal.
The Summit Series. I just want to, while you're on Summit Series, if anyone is not familiar with the 1972 Summit Series between Canada and Russia, holy hell!
Some of the best hockey ever played.
If you can find it on YouTube, I'm sure there's clips on YouTube. If you can find the final game in Russia, it was an 8-game series. First 4 in Canada, last 4 were in Russia, and Russia had 3 games. They had won 3, tied 1, and lost 1 in the first 5. And to win the series, the Canadian team had to win the final 3, and they did. And in the final game, they were trailing by 2 in the third period, and they came back and won to win the series. It was fantastic, awesome series. Check it out.
I thought I had one of the games that I posted on my channel, but I guess I didn't. I
know there's clips. There's clips on YouTube from about that series.
There's there's a documentary on there, the Cold War on Ice, Summit Series 72. There's a whole documentary about it. It's an hour 22. If you're interested on YouTube,
I have that here actually.
And then there's a game 1, there's a game 8. The
whole game.
So full games. Yep.
Oh,
game
8.
1 and game 8 are both on there.
Game 8, the Canada got blown out like 7-3, and then the game 8, U.S. won. Canada won 6-5. They came back from behind.
U.S. stormed the ice and won.
Yeah, right. Yeah, get off the ice, Canada. We'll take care of this. We did it in 19. I was gonna say we did it in 1980, but this is before 80. So
here comes Herb Brooks.
He'll be thrown out of the game.
Might need to rename the episode that. And here comes Herb Brooks. He'll be thrown out of the game. So anyway, Raj Gilbert spent his entire 18-year NHL career with the Rangers, a career that was nearly derailed in 1960 when he broke a vertebrae in his back after slipping on garbage on the ice while playing for Guelph in the Junior Ontario Hockey Association. I tried to look that up because that was in I think it was a TSN article. And I tried to look up where that garbage came from, but there's nothing. So it's like to have that included in your story, I'm like, I need some elaboration here. Why was there garbage on the ice?
I assume a fan threw it on the ice. The fans used to throw garbage on baseball fields and not like beer cups and hot dogs. They throw like fruit and vegetables and stuff and like trash. It's like, where the hell you bring lettuce in? What are you doing?
Going to the market before the game?
Yeah,
right. Plenty of fruit so we can throw it to the players.
Well, I mean, in Detroit they bring in the octopi, and then Nashville they bring in fish. So stupid.
It's very silly. Gilbert did recover, ended up with 406 goals and 615 assists in 1,065 regular season games, and 34 goals and 33 assists in 79 playoff games. In 1972, he had a goal and 3 assists in 6 games for Canada in its historic 8-game victory of the Soviet Union in the Summit Series. So big part of that team, not just a role guy. So sad to hear. It's even sadder to hear that some people in New York can't pronounce his name.
I mean, whatever. There's some pretty bad sportscasters out there. Just, I mean, bloopers, clips, and just dumb things they say. It's just anchors in general. A lot of times they just say the whole reels of like cringy moments back and forth.
And boom goes the dynamite.
And
I actually feel bad for that kid because he was apparently thrust into that role last minute.
He was the weather guy.
Yeah. And they were just we need you to do sports.
and he had never done sports before, didn't know what he was doing, was filling in for a guy, always was the way, and the teleprompter stopped. So he had nothing to go by. He was looking at the video. So he didn't know names. He didn't know anything. So, I mean, you feel bad for him, and he just totally saved it with Boom Goes the Dynamite. The whole...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, more sad news, and this one really kind of struck. 3 teenage hockey players were killed in a car accident in British Columbia. Caleb Reamer, Ronan Sharma, and Parker Magnuson lost their lives after the car crashed into a tree early on Saturday. Reamer was 16. He spent most of last season with the Edmonton Oil Kings, the WHL. Sharma, also 16, committed to play for the BCHL's Langley Rivermen, but COVID-19 unfortunately prevented that season from occurring. Magnuson was 17, also played with the Delta Hockey Academy, earning some under 17 and under 18 time in the past. So I saw this, and my first thought, for us, the Broncos who passed away just a couple of years ago. Yeah. And seeing, I don't know if you saw positive news, I guess, coming from a story like this. The picture that came out a couple weeks ago of all the surviving Humboldt players. I don't know if you saw that. They all took a picture together. A lot of them still standing. Some of them, in wheelchairs and walkers or whatever. So that was positive to see, but it's still just as a sobering moment when you see that and you're just like, what an unbelievable tragedy.
Remember the putting the stick out on the front porch for the Humboldt Broncos? I did that, and I was telling my daughter about it and why. And when I was telling her about it, man, I get choked up, man. You just it was rough. It was. I mean,
it's not just as a hockey thing. It's as a parent, right?
That's no, exactly. It's a parent. It kind of feels like a teammate dies.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you don't know them, you don't play with them. But just it's a community, it's a family, and it's you think about. I when I was going to tell my daughter about it, I'm like, I'll just tell her, because she's asking, And I had no idea I was going to get all choked up about it while I was telling her. It's like, Jesus, where's this coming from? And it's like, it just happens, you know? It's emotional.
Yep. It's funny because when it happened, I told my wife, and she looks over at me, and she just goes, "Wow, what a buzzkill." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm really sorry," but I'm like, this kind of thing, I mean, clearly, like, when anybody passes, any young kid passes, it affects me. But like you said, being a small community, us getting to know people from all across the world who play hockey, it really is a small community. And so when you see something like this, it just tears your heart out. It's the dad thing, but it's the hockey community thing all rolled into one, and it just makes it so awful. So not as awful, but still not happy to see.
Celebratory in a way.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, he had a great career. Mr. Henrik Lundqvist has retired from his 15-year NHL career. Played with Washington. I'm sorry, the Rangers, and kind of with Washington. Signed with Washington. Never played a game. Less than 9 months after his heart surgery, which ended his season this past season after he signed with Washington. 6th all-time in the NHL history in wins, 7th in saves, 8th in games played, 9th in starts, 9th in time on ice, and 17th in shutouts. So, Kurt, I have to ask, Hall of Famer? Do we lose Kurt? Might have lost Kurt there. Okay. I will say yes. I think even though he did not win a Stanley Cup, Kurt, I see you blinking. Are you there? Okay. I think we lost him again. That's okay. He was he's just an excellent talent, great goalie. Kurt, I think you're back.
Oh, okay. I didn't touch anything. I was going to.
So I asked you, Hall of Famer or not?
You know what? I think he gets in. Just because of where he played. I think he had great numbers otherwise, but not winning a cup hurts him. But I think he gets in just because of who he is. He's a big name, generally regarded as consistently one of the better goalies in the league for a good chunk of his career, and he was pretty consistent with that. I think he does. I don't. I think, and he's probably the best goalie to not be. Well, I mean, it's too early, but like Curtis Joseph, to me, for the longest time, was the best goalie not in the Hall of Fame. So I think after now that he's retiring, I think Lundqvist supplants Joseph as that guy.
So let me ask you this question. So you said he's so your answer is probably yes. Best goalie to never win a Stanley Cup.
Well, Lundqvist, but
that's what I'd
say
Lundqvist
after that,
or Joseph.
Yeah, I'd say after that, you got Joseph, you got Luongo out there,
Van Beesbrook, right?
Van Beesbrook too. I'll go with Joseph just because I mean it's so close up there. I mean, aside from Lundqvist, I think Lundqvist is now the best goalie to never win a cup, but Joseph's right there with him, close to it. So
another name that just came to mind was Ryan Miller. I know
Ryan Miller too.
A little bit of a St. Louis connection, but yeah, I mean, outside of that, he had an excellent career.
He did, and played and won. And the Hockey Hall of Fame is not just the NHL; it's the Hockey Hall of Fame. So he also was part of the U.S. Olympic team, and the World Cup of Hockey. Was he was the goaltender for the World Cup of Hockey when they won? No, that was Richter when they won in 96. Yeah. That was before Miller. Yeah. So
you know what I just thought of? Number one goalie to never win a cup, Roberto Luongo.
That's what I just said.
I don't know why his name slipped my mind when I said this, but yeah, Luongo, Joseph, Kiprasov, as another one. But Lundqvist is right there with all those guys, and I think he will be a Hall of Famer.
I think Lundqvist is probably a notch ahead of those guys. Maybe Luongo, God, he's up there. And again, Joseph, it's all you can make an argument for a bunch of them. Like I said, being Joseph, I mean, I'm biased. He's one of my favorite players ever. So I'll go with him as the second to Lundqvist.
Agree. Well, folks, I think that'll do it. Unless Kurt, you have anything else? Any comments that we want to read?
Oh, yeah. So Div by Zero in the YouTube chat said, I hear, for instance, people talking about trading Tarasenko for Mayfield, but if you're going to take that as a return, why not just play Wallman and see what you have? Well, I mean, I wanted, if we're going to trade Tarasenko to, the Rangers, for the Islanders, I would love to get Mayfield. He's exactly, I think, what the Blues defense could use. A big, tough, stay at home, good defenseman.
Yeah.
And Mayfield is that. I think Wallman is not that. He's not the big, tough defenseman. I like Wallman a lot. I've said this on the show a lot of times. I like Wallman. If they don't get a big, tough, stay-at-home guy, I'd love to see Wallman get more time this season on the back end.
Well, and I personally think you could still, even with an acquisition like a Mayfield, you could still see Wallman slotted in there. Gunnarsson's gone. Bortuzzo, I think Wallman plays over him. I think Bortuzzo becomes your number 7.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you still see Wallman getting at least minutes in the bottom pairing. But I think even with the Mayfield acquisition or maybe another defenseman, like I agree with you, a defenseman of that caliber is, I think, what the Blues need. But I think you still find a way to get Wallman in there. And remember, Dunn's gone too. So you got to fill those shoes somehow.
Mayfield is a guy that I liked. When I saw a rumor about Mayfield being involved for Tarasenko, I'm like, oh, yes, I'd do that straight up. Honestly, do it. So make it happen.
Yep. Well, Kurt, I think that'll wrap it up here for what is this, episode 50 of season 9, which will be wrapping up season 9 here soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I mean, man, we're only 4 weeks away from training camp, maybe 3 weeks.
It is. Yeah, what is it? It's the 25th.
25th.
Yeah, we're probably a few weeks away. A couple weeks.
Great.
Yeah,
and we found a way to fill hockey coverage this long into the summer. So I'm proud of us, Kurt. It wasn't just me this time.
We did a pretty good job.
Yeah, we did all right. We do okay.
Shoot, what time did the show start? 9:30. So we're 2 hours.
We still found 2 hours to talk hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off by texting Dustin at 636-393-8745. And make sure to tell him that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. Number again, 636-393-8745. And by Center Ice Brewery, St. Louis's hockey-themed brewery. Visit centericebrewery.com today to schedule a no-contact curbside pickup or to make a reservation in their awesome tap room. While you're there and enjoying a number of their fantastic beers, you can admire the bar top and tables made of authentic arena wood. Located at 3126 Olive Street in Midtown St. Louis, it's one of the best places to watch a Blues game. That's centericebrewery.com. Please drink responsibly. That will do it for episode 50 of season 9 of the Hockenpah. I'm sorry, I just went in a trance there. That'll do it for episode 50 of season 9 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. I had fun, Kurt had fun, and I hope you had fun. Kurt had a little fun. Let me
A little fun.
rephrase. A little bit of fun.
Mostly during the breaks.
Yeah, right. For Kurt Price and the On Assignment Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Hawk and Paw.
Let's go Hawk and Paw. Gesundheit.
The Chiefs are at home tonight against Cyanosport at the War Memorial at 8. Good seats are still available. A look at sport. I think that went very well.
Thank you for listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. Now take off, hosers.
I want you to have a heart attack and die so that we never have to do this shit again.
Well, there's 90 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Sorry.
St. Louis Blues, St. Louis Blues. Have you heard the news about our St. Louis Blues? They've only just begun, they're on their way to number one. Now there's no more blues for our St. Louis Blues. The Blues are on the ice tonight again. They're rough and tough and got the stuff to win. They'll always get one more, no matter what the score.